A British soldier who volunteered to fight for Ukraine was killed in battle last week, becoming the 10th Brit to die fighting in the war against Russia. Friends and family of Daniel Newey have said he had a kind and giving heart and always wanted to help people. Samuel was just 22 and was studying psychology at university. His mother said he didn't even think twice when making the decision to fly to the war-torn country to support the Ukrainian forces. And I'm joined now by Samuel's mother, Vicky Downs, and his brother, Daniel Newey, who's also been fighting with the Ukrainian forces. Thank you both for coming all the way in today.
You're welcome.
My deepest condolences to you as his mum, to you as his brother.
Thank you.
My brother was a serving officer in various wars. We know as a family, we know what you've been through to a degree, but we never had to go through what you both go through now. Let me first of all ask you, how are you doing?
How would any mother do? I am broken, but immensely, immensely proud of the man he grew into, the sacrifice that he made. As a mum, would I change it? Absolutely, in a heartbeat.
Right. How do you feel about it? You've been out in Ukraine fighting as well. You were actually his commander for a few months.
Yep.
With the Ukrainian forces. How are you feeling right now?
From a human perspective, obviously it's not a good thing to lose your brother, so that's something that's going to be with me for the rest of my life. But on the other hand, the progress that he made during his time in Ukraine, it was absolutely crazy to see him change from a boy into a man. So from like a soldier perspective, I'm so proud of him.
What compelled you both to want to be there?
I think it's more of a question of morality. So the way that we were always brought up is if you see something wrong, speak out against it, act out against it. So I think it's just part of our nature to just help wherever people need help.
Do you know what happened to Sam?
I do. I do know what happened. Would it be all right not to go into details, but what I do know is that Sam was first in and he was last out, and he would not leave his position until all of his unit were out. And pretty much that's all I know, really. Just.
What do you feel about the cause that he was fighting for?
What do I feel about the cause? It's from a humanitarian point of view, I agree. I agree with the cause. I think that it is important as human beings to challenge wrongdoing where we can. You know, we're lucky in this country that we have a voice. We are allowed to speak out. We are not oppressed to a certain degree. We have to stick up. We have to fight for the rights of other people when we see that, you know, they're not being given the same rights and democracy that we have.
What are your feelings about Vladimir Putin?
I feel really sorry for Putin. I think he's delusional. I think that he has had a life unlike ours. I think that their society is very different. I don't hate him. I just feel sorry for him.
It takes a lot to not hate someone who's been responsible for your boy's death.
It does take a lot. But the whole reason both my sons do what they do are for good reasons. And if I hated, where would that hate stop? Where would it end?
How do you feel about Putin and what the Russians are doing?
The same. Obviously, I don't agree with the invasion of Ukraine. It's an illegal invasion, and it could be argued that it is actively a genocide. I've got no animosity towards Russians. During my time in Ukraine, when we take prisoners, a lot of these people are just young kids that have been forced into a situation, so they haven't really got the choice, if that makes sense. So I hold no hatred towards Russians or to Russia as a country. But yeah, obviously the situation just is what it is. I don't know, I mean, it could be argued that this is an overspill of the proxy conflict in Syria. I mean, if we look at sort of the Russian and American proxy war that happened there, this is a direct overspill. So what we've seen is obviously Assad's been sort of propped up by the Russian regime. And then we see obviously Russia trying to drive a wedge in NATO as well. So if we look at Erdogan's relationship with Putin, it's very obvious, and it should be obvious to everybody, that these countries like Russia, Turkey, they are the enemy of all like democracy-loving countries and people. So again, I mean, we shouldn't look at these as isolated incidents. They're all completely interconnected. So I think that's what people should take on board.
Will you go back to Ukraine?
I don't want to say this in front of my mum, but 1,000,000% I'm going to go back.